Hey everyone, this is Jack the Fat Cyclist again. With this video I was wanting to give you some information about what drives me as being an avid cyclist and do some reviews on the sleeping systems that I have used in the past. So my main motivation is health. I want to get my weight lower and keep myself from getting diabetes. Diabetes is something that has gone through my family and I have several friends that are fighting with it. I don't want to have to fight with it myself, so keeping my fitness up and my weight down as much as possible is important. So far I've done very well with that. Aside from being overweight, the rest of my health numbers are in very good order, largely because of the amount of physical activity I get getting out on the bike a lot. When I got the trike that I'm riding now last year, I was weighing 370 pounds. Right now I'm fluttering around 340 pounds. Ideally, I'm shooting to get down to about 270. So I've got a bit of a ways to go, but I'm going in the right direction. In conjunction with my fighting diabetes myself with the riding, I am also doing rides in support of the American Diabetes Association. For the second year now, I am riding in the American Diabetes Association Tour de Cure, which is a fundraising cycling event held across the nation. Here in Michigan, it's held in Detroit. I will be riding the 60-mile route that will be going from Belle Isle Park through eastern Detroit and up to St. Clair Metro Park and back. But I'm also doing fundraising on that. I've raised, as of this video, $200. I'll have a link in the description for you can add your own donations. They're highly appreciated. The more I can raise, the more the American Diabetes Association can benefit from it and help other people who are suffering from diabetes. And hopefully we can get diabetes removed as a major epidemic in the United States. So going on to the sleeping equipment that I have used over the years. Last year and years before, one thing that I picked up was an Alps Mountaineering Lightweight Series self-inflating pad. It is, I believe it's about 30 inches wide and 3 inches thick when it's inflated, which is massive, but it also packs down and rolls up to a fairly compact size. When I ride with a trailer, it's able to strap onto the top of it fairly easily. Adding a picture of that setup here. But it even as compact as it gets, and it's not too heavy at a couple of pounds, but it is still a bulky item that's hard to use if I want to compact my kit down even further. So this year, one thing that I have gone with is the Klymit Static V, which packs down to a very small size, and otherwise, so far it has worked out very well for me. This is the standard one. There is also the Static V Luxe, which is wider, more close to the Alps Mountaineering in width, but this one, in the few rides and campouts that I have done this year, it has done sufficiently well for me. It does take a bit more effort to get sleep ready. The self-inflating pad, you just have to open up the valves and it inflates itself, but the Static V, you do have to inflate yourself with your own lungs. One effective item that I've gotten is you can get inflator pumps for these. The one that Klymit sells themselves is a little bit on the expensive side at $40 for what equates to a bag with a hole on the end of it. So what I have found online to use is a soda bottle cap. You hollow out the cap and cut the top off the bottle. You could then feed a trash bag corner through the top of the bottle, wrap that around the top and put the lid back on it, and that fits just right over the inflation valve so that you can inflate it most of the way without having to use your lungs. For this video though, I will go ahead and inflate it with my lungs myself just to show how many I can take. So that was about 7 of my breaths and 1 more to firm it up once I had it straightened out. And as you can see, it is quite thick, and surprisingly, For a fully inflated pad like this, you'd think it wouldn't have much support, but I was truly surprised at how much this was able to support me. The V-channels that they used on this are surprisingly adept at adjusting the pressures so that the support is able to conform to my body. Even at 340 pounds, my butt and my shoulders would not feel like they were pressing into the ground significantly, while the air was then redirected to support my lower back and my legs still sufficiently so that it was comfortable. I wasn't getting any soreness, and surprisingly able to get a really good night's sleep, which is important when you're out there for 40 or 60 miles on a day-by-day basis. You want something that can give you a good night's sleep, and this has really been able to, while at the same time packing down to a very small, compact size that I'm able to put into my panniers. In addition to that, I also put the Static V V-sheet on top of this as well, which, because I'm going with the original Static V and not the insulated one, for two reasons. It adds a little bit to the R value to make it a little bit warmer, and for one of the next things I'm showing you, it gives a comfortable sheet to lay on so that you're not laying directly on this plastic material. As far as sleeping bags in the past, the main thing I used in years before is just a basic, cheap, $10, $15 fleece sleeping bag, which, you know, it's warm enough. I'm mainly a summer camper, so I don't need anything that has a lot of warmth to it. I don't need a mummy sack. I don't need 30 degree, 0 degree sleeping bag. This is good for 50 degrees, and it has worked well for me in the past. You know, for someone of my size, this particular one is still very snug. It's tight to sleep in and get fully zipped up. There's not a lot of space left once I get my arms inside as well. So what I have gone with in this year is I went with a quilt. Now, these are very popular with hammock sleepers, and they have gained popularity with ground sleepers as well, because it's a sleeping bag without a back. All it has is a toe box that's completely sealed, mostly sealed, and then it is an open quilt that can be wrapped around your upper body and relying on the sleeping pad to provide warmth on your back. This is a good thing because in most cases with a sleeping bag and a pad, when you're laying on the sleeping bag, you're compressing the fill and it doesn't actually provide you any warmth. And with a quilt, there's simply nothing behind you, which means you're able to reduce the amount of material that you're taking. You're only needing to cover 3 sides of yourself instead of all 4. Now, as see this quilt, this is the 40 degree economy burrow that they at hammockgear.com sells. I'll have a link for that below. And I went with the hammock gear mainly because it was one of the cheaper ones that I could find. It's about the same size as the fleece bag that I used to use. This is still not fully compressed. It is compressible even further if you have a compression sack for it. This has been as far as I've needed to take it. I also keep the Klymit X pillow in this bag. It's a great easy spot to keep it. The pillow has worked really well with the V-sheet. The sheet has a pouch in the top of it where you can put a pillow to keep it in place, and it never moved on me in the night. It had stayed right where I needed it, and it's very comfortable. And the sleeping bag, for this one, it has the zippered toe box and a drawstring at the end of it to snuff it down. As tight as the toe box cinches, it doesn't go all the way. There's always a hole here. Oftentimes what people recommend for review on that is stuff a thick sock in there, and that'll lock up that hole and keep cold air from coming in. For me, on summer camping though, it hasn't been that big of an issue. It's nice having that extra little bit of ventilation to keep the feet from getting too hot. I tend to be a hot sleeper, so having a little bit of extra ventilation is good. But otherwise, it's been very comfortable. The nice thing about how these work is you get a snap at the top that you snap together and put this over your head, and then use a drawstring here to snug it up around your neck, and then you get your shoulders inside of it, and that's it. This holds itself over your body perfectly. And although the sleeping pad has not been wide enough to lay my arms on it, my arms end up laying on the tent floor. With the quilt, it's curling around and my arms are laying on the quilt inside. I have room inside of it. It doesn't confine me the way a mummy sack would, because finding a mummy sack for someone who is thick in the middle is very hard. They're very tight and not comfortable to sleep in at all. And you get a oversized sleeping bag to try to have something that's big enough to hold you and be warm. It's oftentimes so big that it is an encumbrance to even carry it on a backpack or in a trailer. It's just a huge load to carry. But this quilt has been wonderful. I sleep very well in it. When I did my Algonac and Lakeport camp trips, I had a pair of sweatpants and a hoodie that I would wear at the camp as well to keep from getting too cold in the evenings and through the night. When it came to sleeping, I would sleep in those sweats, and I would take the hoodie and snug the hood over my face so that it was covering everything except my nose just about. And that kept my head from getting cold, and I did not get overly hot. Then with this quilt, I was perfectly comfortable. I slept very soundly for most of the night. Very interesting getting up at 3 a.m. because the birds won't let you get back to sleep. But that just means I'm able to get an earlier start. So that is all I'm going to review on this video. My Tour de Cure event that is coming up. I'm going to be writing that on September 8th in 2 months' time. Thank you for watching, and until next time.